Welcome to Simply Explained English. I am Lisa.
And I'm Eric. Do you want to improve your English easily? If so, you're in the right place.
So let's get started and make English easy. So Eric, what are the words today?
The first word today is odd. Then we will continue with on the rise and to claim. Then to put up with. And the final one is make amends.
Okay, let's start with the first word, Eric.
The first word today is odd.
Odd.
Odd is an adjective, and it means something strange, unusual, or different from what you expect. When something feels a bit strange or doesn't seem normal, you can describe it as odd. For example, if you see someone wearing a winter coat in the middle of summer, you might think, that's odd. Here's an example sentence. Tom was acting odd today. He didn't say hello to anyone. This means that Tom's behavior was strange because he normally talks to everyone, but today he didn't say anything.
Great example, Eric. Here's another one. There was an odd noise coming from the kitchen last night. It means that there was a strange sound that didn't seem normal. It wasn't the kind of sound you usually hear in the kitchen.
Good example, Lisa. Odd is not used for big, shocking events, but more about things that make you stop and think. You might say, like, that's a bit strange.
Exactly. Now, let's hear a short dialogue where odd is used.
Did you notice that odd smell in the hallway this morning?
Yes, it was really odd. I don't know where it came from.
Me neither. But it was strange to smell something like that in our building.
In this conversation, Ben says there was an odd smell in the hallway. That means the smell was unusual and didn't seem normal. Then Sarah agrees that the smell was really odd, meaning she also thought it was strange and unexpected.
Exactly. Odd is common in both formal and informal situations. You can use it with friends when talking about something strange, but you could also hear it in a work setting like an odd problem with the computer.
That's true. It's a flexible word, but it's definitely a little lighter and friendlier than saying something is bizarre or very strange.
Yes, and you can use odd for lots of things. Smells, sounds, or even situations where something just doesn't seem right.
Yes, it is quite common in English, Lisa.
Okay, so that's it for the word odd. Now, let's continue with the second word.
The second word is on the rise.
On the rise.
On the rise is a phrase that means something is increasing or becoming more common. You use it when you want to talk about something that is growing, like prices, popularity, or numbers. For example, if a new technology is becoming popular, you can say, the use of this technology is on the rise. Let's give some example sentences.
Okay, Eric, let's do it.
Here's our first example sentence. Crime in the city is on the rise. It means that crime is increasing and there are more cases of it happening in the city than before.
Good example, Eric. Here's mine. Electric cars are on the rise as more people choose to use them. It means that the number of people buying and using electric cars is growing and they are becoming more popular. And now, let's see how this phrase works in a short conversation. Ready, Eric?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Have you noticed that housing prices are on the rise lately?
Yes, it's getting really expensive to buy a house. Prices have been on the rise for the past few years.
I wonder how high they'll go. It seems like they just keep rising.
In this dialogue, Emily and John are talking about how the prices of houses are on the rise. This means that house prices have been going up and are getting more expensive.
Right. And we can use on the rise for all kinds of things: prices, popularity, even things like unemployment rates. Basically, anything that's increasing.
Okay, now let's talk a bit more about this phrase. Would you say this is a phrase we hear often, Eric?
Definitely. You hear on the rise all the time because it's easy to use. Whether you're talking about social media trends or something like climate change, on the rise is a great way to describe it.
That's true. It's a very useful phrase in both casual and formal settings. Right, Eric?
Yes. On the rise can be used in both formal and informal situations. You might hear it in the news or a business meeting when talking about trends, but you can also use it in everyday conversations with friends as well.
I agree. So, listeners, if you want to talk about something that's growing or increasing, just say it's on the rise. It's simple and easy to understand. Okay, well, I think we have explained on the rise pretty well. Let's move on to the next word.
Okay, the next word is to claim.
To claim.
To claim is a verb, and it means to say something is true, even if it hasn't been proven yet. People often claim something when they believe something is a fact, even if others don't agree. Let's give some examples to help our followers understand it better. Here's the first example. He claimed he saw a UFO last night. It means that this person said he saw a UFO, but we don't know if it's true or not.
Great example, Eric. Here's another one. He claims to have the best pizza in town. It means that he says his pizza is the best, but we don't know if that's true. It's his opinion, and other people might not agree.
Let's talk about claim. Claim can also be used as a noun, like make a claim, which means to say something is true. It is used as in claim to do something, or claim that something is true.
That's right. And now let's practice using claim in a short conversation. Are you ready, Eric?
Ready as always.
Did you hear about Alex? He claimed he finished the project all by himself.
Really? How can he claim that? He did the project on his own. That's strange because I helped him with it.
It seems like he wants all the credit, but I know you worked hard too.
As you see in the dialogue, claim can often be about situations where someone says something is true, but others might not believe it.
Exactly, Lisa.
Eric, what would you say about the word claim? Do you think claim is a formal or informal word?
I think claim is quite neutral. You can use it in both formal and informal situations. For example, in a news report, you might hear, "The company claims that their product is the best," which sounds formal. But you could also use it in a casual conversation, like, "He claimed he saw a ghost," which is more informal.
I agree. It works in both settings, depending on the situation. Do you think claim is a common word?
Yes, it's a pretty common word. You often hear it in news stories, legal situations, or everyday conversations as well.
So, listeners, if you hear someone claim something, it means they are saying it's true, but it's not always 100% certain. And that wraps up our explanation of today's word claim. I hope our followers understand the meaning of claim well.
I hope so, Lisa.
Okay, let's move on to the next word, Eric.
The next word is put up with.
Put up with.
Put up with is a phrasal verb. It means to tolerate or accept something difficult or annoying without complaining too much. Let me give you an example sentence. I can't put up with this loud noise anymore. It means that I can no longer tolerate or accept the loud noise. It's too annoying for me.
Here's another example. Sarah puts up with a long commute because she loves her job. It means that Sarah tolerates the long journey to work because her job makes it worthwhile.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that put up with is always followed by a noun or a pronoun. For example, I put up with my noisy neighbors, or I put up with it.
Now, let's see how this phrase works in a short dialogue.
How do you put up with the traffic every morning?
It's hard, but I don't have another choice. I have to put up with it to get to work.
I don't think I could put up with that.
In this conversation, Emma asks James how he puts up with the traffic, meaning how he tolerates it every day. James explains that he has no choice. He has to keep up with it.
Put up with is often used in situations where we don't have control over something, but we still have to deal with it. Eric, would you say put up with is more formal or informal?
I'd say it's definitely more informal. You would use it in casual conversations with friends, family, or co-workers, but probably not in a formal situation or writing.
You're spot on. It's a friendly conversational phrase. You wouldn't hear it much in formal writing or business emails, but it's a very practical and common expression.
Yes, definitely. Put up with is a casual, friendly way to say you tolerate something. It's great for everyday situations.
Okay, well, that wraps up our explanation of today's phrase, put up with. Now, it's time to explain the last word of today. What is the last word today, Eric?
The last word is make amends.
Make amends.
Make amends means to do something good to show that you are sorry about something you have done wrong.
Like, it's about taking action to show that you regret what happened and want to make things better.
Exactly, Lisa. Let me give you an example sentence. After forgetting his wife's birthday, John tried to make amends by cooking her a special dinner. It means that John wanted to fix his mistake by doing something nice for his wife.
Here's another example. The company made amends to customers affected by the data problem by offering free services. This means that the company tried to correct its mistake by giving something to the customers that had been harmed.
Good examples, Lisa. It's worth noting that we often use make amends with the preposition for when specifying what we're trying to correct, like make amends for a mistake, or to make amends for the worry I've caused you.
We can also use to when talking about the person we're making amends to, such as make amends to someone.
Now, let's listen to a short dialogue using this phrase.
Hi, Tom. I heard you argued with your brother. How are things now?
Well, I realized I was wrong, so I'll try to make amends by buying tickets for us to see his favorite band next week.
That's a nice gesture. Do you think it'll be enough to make amends?
I think it will be.
That was a great example of how to use make amends in a conversation.
I agree, Lisa. So, what do you think about this phrase? Is it common?
It's not as common as I'm sorry, but you hear it. When people are talking about making up for something they did wrong. It's also used in more serious situations where someone really wants to show that they regret their actions.
That makes sense. Do you think it's a formal or informal phrase?
I'd say it's a little more formal than just saying, I'm sorry. You might hear it in both formal and informal conversations, but it does feel like a slightly more thoughtful way of talking about fixing a problem. For example, in everyday life, people might just say, I want to apologize. But if you say make amends, it sounds like you're really trying to repair the situation.
Good point. Can you think of any similar phrases, Lisa?
Sure. Phrases like apologize, make up for, or set things right can sometimes be used instead of make amends.
Those are great alternatives, Lisa. I think make amends is a useful phrase for our listeners to know. It shows a willingness to take responsibility and fix problems.
Absolutely, Eric. Okay, well, I think we've covered make amends pretty well and reached the end of our podcast today as well.
I think so, Lisa.
We hope you found the words helpful and the explanations easy to understand.
Thanks for listening. Keep practicing your English
And stay tuned. Bye for now.